state prison, now in consecutive county. In May 2018, 24-year-old Jessica Riesinger was lawfully crossing the street in Tampa, Florida, while pushing her 20-month-old daughter, Lilia. And the young family would be struck by a Ford Mustang traveling at the speed exceeding 100 miles per hour in a 40-mile-per-hour zone. And to save her daughter, Jessica would push the stroller ahead to move her daughter out of the path of the oncoming vehicle. But unfortunately, it was too late. They would both be struck, and while Jessica died immediately, Lilia would pass away the next day, succumbing to her injuries. Cameron Herron, an 18-year-old from the area, was the one behind the driver's seat, with his brother in the passenger seat. He had been drag racing with his friend, John Barano, and Cameron was charged with 2 counts of vehicular homicide, with a total of 24 years in prison. Doesn't sound like enough to me. It would take 3 years for the sentencing to come down, and the social media landscape surrounding Cameron became horrifying. People began posting videos on TikTok standing with Cameron, simping for him, and trying to argue his innocence. He killed a mother and child, a mother that was trying to save her child from your ignorant, dumb piece of shit ass. Not you, Cameron, doesn't matter. And even blaming irresponsible pedestrians. What? And people would even say he's too cute for jail.
Switch to Google Fi Wireless today and use your data abroad at no extra cost on Unlimited Plus.
What? And people would even say he's too cute for jail. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. I hope terrible things are happening to him in there, to be honest. Like this post, the bravest man I've ever known. You're the real king, Cameron Herron. Dude, I can't. And some of the most insane claims coming from people with a very loose grip on reality, to say the least. We're saying that this sentencing is gonna ruin his future. Oh, Hashtag justice for Cameron became viral. And a petition that gained over 800 signatures with the same name says a lot about this sentiment.
Cameron had no intention of killing anyone. He's innocent, and the U.S. government should understand that he doesn't deserve 24 years in jail. He has his whole life ahead of him. He regrets his actions, which was reflected through his emotions in the courtroom. Everyone makes mistakes.
Not like that, Tiffany. I don't know if her name's Tiffany.
He seems to have faced a more greater consequence than others, but one event in your life shouldn't determine your future.
Actually, that's how the justice system works, Tiffany, you dumb bitch.
We all make decisions we regret when we are young, but that doesn't mean we have to give up our whole lives to repent. Cameron is an intelligent young adult who doesn't deserve this injustice. You can help make a change to this young boy's life. Cameron needs your help.
Cameron needs your... And they say that Cameron has his whole life ahead of them. But guess what? Jessica and Lilia don't. Remember them? The people he killed? And the husband and father that was left behind and has a life ahead of him, but his life has been ripped away because his family was ripped away from him because of Cameron, the person you're supporting, the murderer.
You dare request a chance to live out your dreams when you eliminated all of mine. You've shown zero remorse. The truth behind this is that you are privileged. You killed a mother and a daughter. You did. No one else in this city but you did. Yeah.
But there were so many people on Cameron's side that even his father, Chris, posted a video thanking everyone for the support. If I was a parent, and my son killed 2 people, you best believe I'd be on the other side of the court supporting the other people. All right, because there's no excuse. There's just no excuse, okay? There's consequences for your actions. So was the 24-year sentence enough, or was it not enough? Well, in court, while defending Cameron, the defense tried to paint this incident where Cameron made one dumb mistake. But the data pulled from the car's computer revealed that he had been driving recklessly like this for days. At one point, he had gone 160 miles per hour, and all the times that he had driven this fast were during the day when pedestrians were about. So, safe to say, he's just an ignorant piece of shit. Falling in love with a person guilty of murder, intentional or not, simply because he's hot is f***ing terrible. But at least people would be smart enough not to simp over a serial killer, right? Oh wait, we already talked about Ted Bundy, but there's also Jeffrey Dahmer.
A recent story leads off our newscast.
Milwaukee police found body parts in a North Side apartment, and now they wonder if they've uncovered some kind of death factory.
It's Jeffrey Dahmer, the serial killer and cannibal whose saga of evil has been given new life in the hit Netflix series Monster.
This was the scene earlier this morning. Police hired a private contractor to haul a refrigerator and a tank of acid out of the apartment in the 900 block of North 25th Street. Because of the acid, some neighbors were evacuated briefly. Police found parts of bodies, leading them to believe the man they arrested is a mass murderer.
Jeffrey is a name that should conjure images of horror and revulsion and just pure evil in your mind. He is one of the most notorious serial killers in history, and if you want me to cover more of that case, let me know down below. He was responsible, though, for the murders of 17 young men between the years of 1978 and 1991. And Dahmer's crimes, which most of you probably know, were as gruesome as they come. He would lure victims into his apartment, where he would drug them, essay them, and ultimately kill them. Sometimes torturing them by drilling into their heads and putting hot boiling water and other liquids in there to make them his weird zombie companions. We'll get into that if you want me to actually do the video. It's crazy. But his depravity wouldn't stop there. Dahmer would go on to dismember his victims, preserving their body parts as trophies, basically. Some of the remains were even, wait for it, cannibalized. Oh, goody. And by all accounts, Dahmer was a monster in human form. And that's how he was, primarily remembered until an explosive Netflix series came out starring Evan Peters, which, love Evan Peters, I think he's a brilliant actor, but he's not Jeffrey Dahmer, people. But anyway, he played Jeffrey Dahmer in this role. And there was a growing trend, particularly on platforms such as TikTok, romanticizing Dahmer. Dahmer specifically, not even Evan Peters, just actual footage of Dahmer himself, reducing his horrific acts to the subplot in their obsession with his physical appearance and perceived misunderstood nature. He's just confused. He's just mysterious. He doesn't know any better. What the? He ate people. This guy ate your aunt or your sister. I can't. The more I think about it, the more my head hurts. Honestly, I think it hurts anyway. And this isn't only baffling, but it's extremely dangerous, you know. And it's a stark example on how the internet can just warp reality, transforming a sadistic killer into a dark, almost alluring figure. Some of the comments on the Dahmer thirst traps and interviews are crazy. I felt so sorry for him in the diner when his dad dismissed his feelings and he needed help. Yeah, I felt sorry for his childhood. But it wasn't just limited to TikTok either. People went to Quora, of all places. Do people go on Quora, I guess, to ask if there was anybody else that sympathized with Dahmer?
Is it strange to feel sympathetic towards a serial killer? Jeffrey Dahmer in particular, he just seems pathetic and sad and just desperate to relate to someone, which is not to negate the severity of the gruesomeness of what he did, but I really feel sorry for him. Anyone else?
I mean, okay, so, playing devil's advocate, as human beings, we're very complex, and people are brought up in very, very different situations. But if you are of sound mind to, a relative degree, I think you are responsible for the actions that happen when you are an adult and your brain is fully formed. And this is just next level.
I feel like I lose track of at least $500.
Maybe that's because you saw your spreadsheets. Haven't you heard of Rocket Money?
No, but you're probably going to cut me off and tell me about it.
It's an app that automatically tracks your spending in real time, lowers your bills, and finds and cancels sleepy subscriptions.
Sign me up.
Stay on track with your finances and download Rocket Money today.
Eight Sleep's brand new platform is truly incredible right out of the box. Installation is pretty simple. This goes over your bed like a fitted sheet, and it creates the perfect temperatures for sleeping all while tracking your sleep without a wearable. Laying on it right away, and it definitely feels premium, and it just feels like an extension of your mattress. So my first impression is it is downright incredible and a piece of tech that genuinely improves sleep and my quality of life. Just use the link below.
This is just next level. Or even Cameron, I think when he's 24, I mean, he's responsible for what he did. He's not a child. He's a full blown-ass adult. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, you can have sympathy towards somebody's childhood, but I have absolutely zero sympathy for anybody that takes another person's life. I mean, in general, but also for no reason, even 10,000 times worse. But anyway, when this was going on Quora shortly after the show aired, it was covered on YouTube by creators like Poncho. And you can find clips of a woman on TikTok simping over Dahmer in his video. Clips that are now deleted because they were so poorly received.
Is there something wrong with me because I high-key felt bad for Jeffrey Dahmer?
I just don't understand how people are becoming so ignorant of the disturbing brutality displayed by actual serial killers, or just killers in general, criminals in general. Like, is it an oversaturation of true crime-centered content, or just like weird, brutal, fetishized, like smut? I'm not sure. Are people just desensitized to this like horrific nature of these crimes because of what they consume? I'm not, and I am somebody that consumes more probably true crime stuff than most people, honestly, and I'm not desensitized to it all. Least of all am I attracted to the people that commit these horrendous crimes. I want them to burn in the fiery depths of hell and have the crimes that they committed against people committed to them. That's how I feel. And I think that's pretty normal, so I don't know if I agree with all that, but I don't know. I don't know the answer. Fictional shows featuring serial killers as the main characters might also feed into this trend. Shows like Dexter, which ran for 8 seasons, or You, which has run for 4 seasons, and basically turns serial killers into heartthrobs. Those ones specifically are very vigilante also. Well, not so much You, I guess, but Dexter. That even caused a man to be inspired by Dexter and went on to commit crimes like that. So I don't know. There's always going to be people that can be heavily affected by that stuff. People probably have not complete sound mind, you know? But I do believe our society is pretty desensitized to these gruesome crimes. So I think it's our responsibility as creators spreading this information, or news networks or anything like that, or shows, to really be cognizant of how you're portraying these murderers. I think that is important. Because, you know, at the end of the day, they're monsters. They are monsters. And you should want the monsters to stay under your bed or in the closet and not on your bed, because that's weird. But the edits of Dexter Morgan and the edits of Joe Goldberg, fictional characters, match pretty much perfectly with the edits of Jeffrey Dahmer, Cameron Herron, and Wade Wilson. So, I don't know, man. That's the story today. Kind of just a little PSA on not to romanticize these literal pieces of shit. Just little crime, conspiracy, cults, murder, and you. All of which are my favorite topics to talk about. That's a little weird. Anyway, let's start off with you look absolutely fabulous today, all snuggled up, or maybe you're not, but get snuggled up, because we're going to talk about some not so snuggly topics. We're talking about cults today. I put a vote up on Instagram, and I wanted you guys to tell me whether you wanted serial killers or cults. And we all said cults, which I was excited about, because I feel like a lot of people focus a lot on serial killers for these deep dives, and I'm excited to dive into this cult, because I don't think it's talked about enough. I was going to go the Jim Jones route, which I might do in the future, and I was thinking maybe Charles Manson, but that feels overdone, so we're going to do the Children of God. And it sounds nice, but it's not. The main cult leader in charge, David Berg, is the biggest POS you have ever heard of in your life, and I'm excited to deep dive into this. I'm very interested in how cult leaders come to be and how they get these people to follow them and everything. So let's unbuckle our seatbelts, go Mach 5 down the highway, slam on the brakes, and deep dive through this windshield together. Alright, so for those of you who don't know, the Children of God, otherwise known now as the Family International, is a far-reaching Christian cult that started in the late 60s by David Berg. This Santa Claus-looking perverted, but it's always It's the 60s, isn't it? Something about that time just is terrible. But it also had its ups. Some trippy hippies, Elvis Presley, the invention of the handheld calculator, and international criminal cults. That's the not so good part, but that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, you may ask, why, Chris? Why are we diving into this particular cult? And it's because over the years, this cult has become involved in a plethora of sex scandals involving, but not limited to, religious prostitution, child abuse, and pedophilia. But they have now reformed, whatever that means, and are known to be somewhat of a reformed Christian church now. But I'm not going to take their word for it. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're going to be diving deep into the very beginnings of this cult and its leader, David Berg, and all the scandal and abuse and crimes that lie with it. So David Berg was born on February 18, 1919 in Oakland, California. But during his early years, he lived in Florida. So we're already starting off on a bad note. Okay, he was born in a place that was like contracts to El Diablo, and then he was raised in Florida, where it's Florida. Anyway, he was the youngest of 3 children, born to Virginia Brand, his mother, and Hilmer Berg, he's Swedish, can you believe it, his father. And to really understand David Berg, I need to tell you about his POS parents, Hilmer and Virginia. Let's start with his mother. So David's mother, Virginia Brand, was a radio evangelist and a traveling preacher during the Pentecostal revival, which was a time big on fire and brimstone. And for those of you who don't know what that means, it's a term used to represent God's wrath in Christian tradition. Speaking in tongues and laying of hands, etc., what most people consider old-time religion practices. And David's mother got hooked into religion from an event that happened when she was a teenager, where she got whipped off a horse and buggy and broke her back. And then she was bedridden for 5 whole years. But then one day, the heavens opened up and she rose from the bed like the exorcist. And she was just miraculously able to walk from then on. And from then on, she was known as the Miracle Woman, telling her tale of divine healing, something of which other cult leaders such as Jim Jones used to preach and claim as well. So from that tale on, she would grow up and become the first female evangelist preacher in America, and would go on to host a radio show called Meditation Moments, something I feel like I had to do several times while researching for this video. But isn't that just like a nice story? Something that gives you hope in life.
Fucking metal. You fucking metal. You fucking mental, cunt. You fucking mental. Fuck you.
Disclaimer, no hate to anybody that is religious. Okay, I know plenty of people that are religious, and they're some of the best people I know, including my family. Alright, but let's not pretend there aren't some slimy scumbags.
Shake mate, baby. Shake mate.
I digress. Let's continue. So, like I was saying, all David Berg's mother's claims.
On March 4th, 2002, 4 F-14 Tomcats headed to Afghanistan from CVN-74 in the Indian Ocean. A day prior, 3 MH-47E Chinook helicopters were hit here at the Takur Ghar Mountains. This area was an enemy fortress, and troops were in urgent need of close air support. A USAF AWACS told the F-14s to get refueled quickly and help the Army Rangers and SEALs. F-14s were directed to Takur Ghar and released their bombs. The AWACS then ordered them to return to the aircraft carrier. However, one pilot said no. He refused, because the troops on the ground still needed their help. When the Rear Admiral told him to return, he said no to him as well, and turned off his radio. When he landed back on the ship, he was ordered to the ready room. The Air Wing commander was very angry at him and began tearing strips from his uniform. But then, Rear Admiral walks in and says, "That's the best thing I ever saw," which means the Tomcat pilot was saved. On March 4th,
I'm just a passerby. I was looking for a bookshop. What do you think I'm doing?
This isn't a bookshop.
This is a war. Introduce yourself. Tell me the name of the boy who isn't going to 270 because I'm down with 270.
You know what 270 means?
I know when 80s. This was nerds, Tony.
It's actually, I mean, if you want to get into the weeds, what he did is a heli pump to nose slide.
Yeah, it was unnecessary for sure.
What, for me to say that?
Yeah. Hey, one second, let me ask you a question. What's happening? Can you be immune to every disease ever, or become a demon slayer? If a disease gonna take me out, then let it be while this sword's down a demon's throat. Oh, Andres. Frank. America breathing, second form. Oh no. Colonizer breathing, 13th form. You got it. 9/11 breathing, 6th form. The nerve guns, right? Number 90. Good morning, niggas. Make sure you have a good day. Good morning.
I clone myself.
I don't juggle the idea of death well. No. I think I could juggle it quite well. Yes. I don't juggle the idea of death well. No. I think I could juggle it quite well. Yes. I don't juggle the idea of death well. No. I think I could juggle it quite well. Yes. Yes. Ricky Bobby! Ricky Bobby chicken meat, baby! Fuck. Please, oh. Josh, you're queer. We're in the courtroom. What you looking at, motherfucker? Oh, here we go. It's in the fucking Le Mans. Oh, fuck! Oi! Oh, fuck. That's kind of like with that mic. Fuck you, guy. Fuck you, guy.
Thank you to Boring for sponsoring this video.
Yeah, it's Fletch the Fisherman.
trying to.
How lethal is a fire truck?
If you're looking for the perfect video to match your fade, or even want to play the background of the session to boost it, you've come to the right place because today we are handing out the best relatable smoker content for your enjoyment, starting with drinking versus smoking. Both activities resulting in an altered state of mind, but that's really about where the similarities end because, as we know, in many ways, the effects of these substances are basically exact opposites. So if you put a drunk man and a high man in the same situation, for example, walking down a busy street, the high man will most likely keep his head down, avoiding eye contact, observing his surroundings, and minding his own business, all while being as low-key as possible. Well, the drunk man, on the other hand, will probably make eye contact with everyone, all while stumbling around, bumping into trash cans and shit, while having zero idea where he is or where he is even going. Obviously, it also depends on the person and how they react to the effects of these substances. But hey, that's what we're here for. To discover the positives and negatives of both and try to make an unbiased decision on which of these substances is better. And he obviously